Reacher star responds to biggest character complaint with Tom Hanks movie comparison. When everything in cinema has to have a shared universe or character arc, Alan Ritchson addresses the frequent complaint over Jack Reacher's lack of growth across 2 seasons of Prime Video's hit series, Reacher. Comparing his character to Tom Hanks in Castaway, Ritchson countered audience gripes that his character has not changed or learned anything with the suggestion that it is something they should be thankful for. While speaking with Stream Wars, the action man of the moment was more than happy to defend the status quo of Reacher's character, simply saying, "That's Reacher." His full quote reads, people want to know how he's grown or changed. How addicted are we to character arcs? Why can't we have more Tom Hankses, Like that dude's never had a character arc in the world. He's not changing just because he's off the island with the volleyball now, like he's the same dude. He's still trying to deliver packages on time. That's Reacher. And maybe we should just enjoy the fact that he hasn't grown at all. Maybe he hasn't grown. He doesn't have any new responsibilities or a contract that he has to uphold and honor. He has a toothbrush. Maybe he brushes his teeth more. Maybe he's got better hygiene. Reacher has been a massive success for Prime Video, with its 2nd season smashing records and becoming the streamer's biggest show of 2023 despite only debuting late in December. However, the return of Reacher has not been quite as successful as its first season in one big way. Even though Reacher's lack of character development has not been a huge issue for fans of either Lee Child's novels or Prime Video's adaptation, Season 2 has been a mixed bag when it comes to audience reactions for other reasons. Critics have continued to heap praise on the movie, with Season 2 managing to best the already impressive Rotten Tomatoes Tomatometer score of 92% achieved by Season 1, soaring to a near-perfect 98%. On the audience side of the coin, things have been a lot less positive, with the excellent 91% for the first season giving way to 79% for the second. The consensus among audiences seems to be that the second season has let down fans with a combination of poor dialogue, overbearing cliches, and a boring story. Many fans have suggested that work on the season has been rushed in order to capitalize on the success of Season 1, while others have complained that the supporting cast don't do enough to rally around Ritchson's central character. However, none of this really matters in the grand scheme of things, as work on Reacher's 3rd season is already underway, and as long as the viewership continues to be high, it is unlikely that there is going to be even a sniff of a cancellation on the horizon for the action series. When it was announced that Reacher, the highly anticipated series adaptation of Lee Child's popular Jack Reacher novels, would be coming to Prime Video, fans of the books were thrilled. After all, this was a chance to bring one of fiction's most iconic tough guys to life on screen in a way that truly did justice to the character's size, stoicism, and larger-than-life presence. However, with such a beloved character at the center, it was inevitable that the casting decision would be met with scrutiny. Fans had opinions, and one of the most common complaints revolved around the portrayal of Jack Reacher's physical appearance, specifically his size, something Alan Ritchson, the actor cast in the role, would address with a surprisingly thoughtful comparison involving none other than Tom Hanks. The Jack Reacher character dilemma. For those unfamiliar, Jack Reacher is a former military policeman turned drifter who roams the United States, solving mysteries, righting wrongs, and generally dismantling any bad guys who dare cross his path. In the novels, Reacher is described as an intimidating 6'5" man with a build reminiscent of a freight train. His physicality is one of his defining traits, allowing him to overpower opponents with little effort. That image looms large in fans' minds, making casting the right actor a challenging task. When the Reacher series was first announced, many fans breathed a sigh of relief that Alan Ritchson had been chosen to play the titular role. Standing at 6'2" with a muscular build, Ritchson was a closer match to Reacher's description than Tom Cruise, who previously played the character in 2 feature films. However, even though Ritchson's physical appearance seemed much closer to the book's description than Cruise's, complaints still surfaced. Some fans voiced concerns that, despite Ritchson's imposing stature, he still wasn't quite big enough to embody the mythic presence of Jack Reacher from the books. Others wondered whether his casting might lean too heavily into Reacher's physicality while underplaying the character's intelligence, wit, and dry sense of humor. In the face of these criticisms, Ritchson took the time to reflect on the challenge of living up to such a specific, larger-than-life character, and shared an unexpected comparison. Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump. Richson's thoughtful response. In an interview ahead of Reacher's release, Richson was asked directly about the complaints regarding his size. Instead of becoming defensive, he offered a candid and thoughtful response, acknowledging the fan concerns while also drawing an intriguing comparison to one of Tom Hanks's most beloved roles. "Of course, I understand why fans are so protective of Reacher," Richson said. "He's a character who's meant a lot to people for years, and a huge part of his identity is tied to his physical presence. I get that. But I also think there's more to Reacher than just his size. You know, it reminds me of Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump. Gump isn't a particularly huge or physically imposing character, but what Hanks did with that role made him unforgettable." The comparison was a clever one. While Forrest Gump and Reacher may seem like drastically different characters on the surface, Richson's point was about the deeper layers of characterization. Hanks's portrayal of Forrest Gump transcended the character's surface-level traits, his simple-mindedness, his lack of physical prowess, by capturing the heart, emotion, and unique perspective that made Gump such a compelling figure. In much the same way, Richson believed that Reacher's essence went beyond his muscle mass. "I think when people meet my version of Reacher, they'll see that it's not just about how big I am or how hard I can hit," Richson explained. "Reacher is smart. He's strategic. He's got this dry, almost deadpan sense of humor that really drives the character. And yes, his size is important, but it's not the whole story. It's about how he uses his brain, his experience, and his intuition to outsmart people, just as much as it's about how he fights." The evolution of Jack Reacher on screen. Richson's response resonated with many fans who were concerned that the series might focus too heavily on Reacher's physical side. His thoughtful take on the character showed a deep understanding of what makes Jack Reacher such a compelling figure in the first place. While physicality is certainly part of it, Reacher's intelligence, resourcefulness, and strong sense of justice are just as critical to his identity. The comparison to Tom Hanks also highlighted the power of performance over simple appearance. Hanks's ability to bring complexity and heart to a seemingly straightforward character like Gump is a testament to the fact that a great portrayal can elevate a character beyond their surface traits. By referencing Hanks, Richson was suggesting that the true measure of his success as Reacher wouldn't just be how closely he matched the character's physical description, but how well he captured Reacher's essence. Interestingly, Richson also acknowledged the pressure that came with playing such a beloved character, but he emphasized that he didn't want to reduce Reacher to a caricature of toughness. "I didn't want to just play a guy who's big and beats people up. That's not who Reacher is in the books. Yes, he's physically capable, but he's also a thinker. He's a man who's always 2 steps ahead of everyone else, and that's what makes him dangerous." The reception and looking forward. As Reacher debuted to audiences, many viewers were pleasantly surprised by Richson's nuanced performance. Yes, he had the physical presence that fans expected, but more importantly, he brought a complexity to the role that made Jack Reacher more than just a bruiser. Richson's Reacher was introspective, witty, and surprisingly charismatic, traits